Hi everybody and welcome again to ZCode Sports System. Here we developed automated systems to help you win big. It doesn't matter what sport you're betting on, we've got you covered. Before we get into some NBA action for March 24th, I'm going to invite you to join. You see the ZCode VIP Club section. All these tabs here across the top, all these will help you make your picks. Okay, so we're getting really down to the final couple weeks of the regular season in the NBA, and things are really starting to heat up because playoff positioning is of utmost importance right now. So there are a bunch of games for March 24th. We are going to look at 4 of those games right now. Okay, the first one we want to look at is the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Indiana Pacers. You see Minnesota comes in average status. They're 4-2 over the last 6, but they are coming off 2 consecutive losses. And the Pacers are burning hot, winners of 5 out of their last 6. If you take a look at the over-under streak, you can see that Minnesota involved in games over the line 4 out of the last 6, while Indiana in 3 out of the last 6. The score prediction is for a very tight contest, 114 to 113, but the confidence in the prediction is really pretty low at this point, at just 56%. So let's take a look at a few more things here. On the power ranks indicator, you can see Minnesota on a steep downward trend after the last 2 losses. They were at 24 and they are at 15, while Indiana is on the upward climb from plus 17 to plus 23. Let's take a look at head-to-head matchup. This one could be a bit of a surprise. Indiana won by 2 in overtime back on March 17th as a huge underdog. You see the odds were 1.192 to 5.06 in favor of Minnesota, but yet Indiana came out on top in overtime. A couple other things we're going to look at is that the Pacers are 22-9 at home, and the Timberwolves are very solid, 18-16 on the road. And despite a worse overall record, Minnesota has a scoring differential edge of +4 to +1.2. Let's take a look at the stability factor. You see that both teams are moderately consistent regarding their favorite underdog stats, both with some upward and downward trends, but overall the upward trend into the plus category. So in the end, though, I think this is going to be a Pacers win at home. I like the game going over the line. The next one we want to look at is Dallas and Brooklyn. You see here both teams are really struggling, to say the least. Dallas 1-9 over the last 10, dead stats. Brooklyn also dead stats, 1-6 over the 1-5 over the last 6 and 2-8 over the last 10. The over/under, you can see that Dallas has been involved in games over the line. Brooklyn has been involved in games mostly under the line. So the teams are on opposite sides of the over/under line. We're going to take a look at the score prediction, which is a high confidence in prediction, rather high at 80%, with Dallas coming on top by 6 points, 115 to 109. In the power ranks indicator, not a surprise that both teams are near the bottom because of their poor play. Dallas at +6, Brooklyn is currently at +3. Head-to-head, the teams have not yet met this season, so we don't have to pay attention to anything on there. The stability factor, you see both teams on the upward climb, both teams consistently performing with regard to their favorite underdog stats, with Brooklyn at 20 and Dallas at 18. And for both of those teams, that is a high point of the season. Take a look at a couple other factors such as point differential. The scoring differential is -0.5 and -6 in favor of Dallas. And the home road records, neither of them are very good, but in fact Dallas has a better road record at 14-21 than Brooklyn has at home, an abysmal 11-22. So I like the Mavericks in this one to come back in a game over the line. The next game is Chicago and Denver. This game has some playoff implications. Chicago in 9th, so they want to stay in the playoff round here. You know, the play-in round between the 7th to 10th seeded teams. And Denver is 3rd in the Western Conference with a chance of making number 2, just a game out. You can see average down for Denver, 3-3 over the last 6. Average up for Chicago, 4-2 over the last 6. The score prediction is for Denver to win by 8 points. The confidence in the prediction is still low at 49%. If you take a look at the head-to-head matchup, you can see that it was Chicago winning. And even though they're at home, they were a huge home underdog, but they won by 8 back on January the 27th. So that was definitely an upset win in that one. If we take a look at the power ranks indicator, we have Denver at +21 and Chicago holding steady over the last couple of days at +10. On the over-under, you can see that both teams, excuse me, are pretty much trending in games over the line. The volatility oscillator, you can see that Denver is at plus 23, while Chicago is at plus 13. Denver has not gone up too much as of late. You see, not as consistent lately as it had been earlier in the season. And actually, Chicago hasn't been either, because they were up to plus 11 back on January the 12th, and only at plus 13 now. So not much movement in there over the last few months. If we take a look at a couple other factors, the scoring differential edge is huge in favor of Denver, plus 4.1 to minus 3.1. And also, they are very good at home at 23 and 11. But Chicago has a decent road record at 17 and 18. Actually, their road record is better than their home record. But in the end, I like the Nuggets to return the favor. I don't think they're going to lose twice to Chicago in the same season. So let's go with Denver to win, probably by double digits in a game over the line. Okay, so we're going to look at another game here. The last game of the day we're going to look at is the Boston Celtics and the Sacramento Kings. The Celtics are second in the Eastern Conference. They are burning hot with a 5-1 record over the last 6. And Sacramento is ice cold down 2-4 over their last 6. If we take a look at the over-under, you can see Sacramento over in 5 out of the last 6 games. Boston is under in 4 out of the last 6 games. So typically when there's a big disparity between the two teams as far as the over-under, I'm going to try to avoid the over-under bet on that one. But if you want to take a look at the score prediction, it is for Sacramento, surprisingly by 117 of 114. Confidence in the prediction is 57%. Perhaps that is because of the last time they played. As a big shocker back on January the 10th, it was a 17-point Sacramento win, and they just destroyed Boston. And Boston was a huge home favorite. You see 1.169 to 5.52, but Sacramento pulled off the upset. And a big upset indeed, because if you look at this here, the Celtics are 26 and 7 at home, and the Kings are 18-16. So the scoring differential edge is 8.4 to 0.8 in favor of Boston. So big advantages for Boston, but yes, Sacramento pulled off that upset last time. If we look at the stability factor, we can see that Boston is one of the most consistent teams in the league, almost a complete upward trend at plus 33. Very few bumps in the road. A very linear trend. Sacramento has been up and down. They have gradually gotten themselves up to plus 11. They were as high as plus 13 back a few days ago. But in the end, I don't think this is going to be a Kings win this time around. I think this is Boston. They're going to take this one by double digits, and I'm going to pass on the over-under bet. Okay, so there you have it. Those are the 4 games for the NBA for March 24th. Happy betting, and see you next time.